you are a LinkedIn what kind of page did that create for you and your business? Yeah, that's it. So it's live. We're live. We're gonna get right into it, guys. It's Monday morning. Well, actually, it's Monday afternoon. We've had a jam-packed week last week. We were at the Callisto Grand event. Got a chance to meet with a ton of great people. Once again, great show, great hosted event. Mark Harrison, hats off to you, mate. But this week we're gonna flip it around. We've covered a lot of ground with what our technology does, how our software helps customers. We focused a lot on the vulnerability element and how the priority service register is an important kind of theme that we're paying attention to support the UK market, mainly the consumers, get the right help that they need, and that's through good technology that Mega can provide. So today, Martin, I don't know if you want to share a little bit about how you felt from last week. We're getting right into it, and then what we're going to discuss and go over today.
It was a great week. Again, I love these trips that we are having more or less weekly. And it was a huge success to come to the Callisto event. We also had 12 customers in progress there. So it was nice to see all familiar faces, new faces, a lot of good meetings. So it was a great event. And now ready again. And our thinking, Shane, normally you are the one who are interviewing me and having my perspective of things. So we haven't prepared today. You probably have prepared different questions for me today, but I think this is actually a good little exercise to flip it around today, because I'm never the podcast host. So I think today we should do a little flip, and you are not prepared for that, which makes it even more valuable and more fun. I think so I think I should take over the host role today. And I have prepared some questions from my right hand.
Let's do it.
So a little bit of taking into maybe some of what we are working on. And I think one thing is to talk about our product and how well it works and etc. But another thing is also the journey Mega is on together. I think that's also an important thing to share. We share it in LinkedIn posts here and there. What are we doing? How are we doing it? How do we reach our goal of we want to be the world's most used and dominate that industry in the collection space. That's our goal. We want to build an international brand. We are on a good way to doing that. You are a big part of that. So let's get going with that and a few questions. Shane, what is it precisely you are doing in Mega, just for the people who see you behind the scenes all the time, doing our podcast, planning our dinner events, but it goes more deep to that. So without further introduction, can you tell me a little bit, who are you, what do you do, and why do you do it? And then I have some complimentary questions for that. Let's start there. Welcome to Shane Mahi, the normal host of the podcast. Today, the roles are turned around. Here you go.
All right, so my name is Shane Mahi. Mega Mahi is the new name I gave myself last week, which I thought was pretty cool. The reason for that is because we are doing mega things, all right? But also the company name Mega. What do I do at Mega? I really focus on understanding the markets that we want to get into. And by understanding those markets, I need to know what mechanisms we need, what software we need, what tools we need, what people we need, and what strategy we need to start speaking to people, drumming up conversations, and really developing relationships with strangers that have no idea who we are. And with those relationships, we want to bring them into our world and teach them about what Mega can do as a business. Why do I do it? The reason I do it, from a very young age, I was always told I was very good at arguing. People always said I should be a lawyer. That didn't work out. I wasn't exactly the best scholar in the world. And sales popped up as an opportunity to say, hey, look, you can get paid for people to say no to you every day. And a lot of people always say no to me. So I was already used to it. And after 10 years of finding my feet and just like always pathfinding in new markets, new territories, new products, I've come to a place where like I fucking love this shit because I know how to do it very well. Now I've got AI and technology to kind of amplify what I do. And it's a never-ending journey. It's an infinite journey. It's an infinite road that that something always new is coming up, but you're always meeting good people. You meet some bad people along the way, but the ability to connect the dots and like really go through a path, ups and downs, and stay focused and disciplined. Um, there's a skill to that. There's an art to that, and that's what I want to be like very, very well known for. So that's a little snippet highlight of what Shane's about.
Amazing. And like I think it actually came out to life when we again were in the Callisto event here. I was talking to a lot of customers. They were asking me about like how it was like when we came to that room, everybody knew who we were, and people were saying, "Hey, you're the guys from LinkedIn. We see you all over the place." They was like they knew our vision. They got behind the
Yeah.
curtains already. And then people of course asking you normally it's like this is enterprise clients that we are hunting, the people we met with Callisto, enterprise companies,
Hmm.
and normally there will be different kind of processes for companies who want to address enterprise sales and get into that. So you could say that would be a classic way. We also talk with somebody who we are scaling up on our BDR team. We are scaling up on our AE team. We are having more sellers now in this space to go out and present their product, etc. But we didn't do it that way. We did it in another way. We had a long sales cycle starting 6-7 months ago where we begin to set different activities in. We did hundreds of podcasts and we did roundtable discussion. Then you came up with an idea. Let's begin to do dinner clubs, etc., etc. All those activities that we are creating in Mega to create those enterprise relationships. Where are they coming from? What is the strategy behind those things that you are also doing and pushing Mega in the direction of? How do we sit with so many enterprise clients? We are a fairly young company. How do we sit with so many enterprise clients also already before we actually went hardcore into the market with our product? And how is it that we have already now closed 6 of the 10 largest collection companies in the UK market? Can you try to get the audience on perspective? What is the secret recipe? I mentioned a little bit here.
Hmm.
Secret recipe that led to that to happen in that short time in Mega?
Um, the short recipe is to understand your failures very fast and then to pivot into a strategy that works for what you're trying to do. And what I mean by that is I was always great at going cold outbound into uh, new markets or established markets and drumming up relationships. That didn't work in this environment. It just didn't work. We developed a few conversations. There was a lot of familiarity with some of the people we started to work with, as well as some of the people we were beginning those conversations with. We went out to the US and we really got some huge coverage, got some huge groundway in the US, but we were picking up crumbs. And those crumbs, when you're against the grain, when you've got pressure, you need to build momentum, and results are what you need in the first year, 2 years of a startup. I quickly had to understand that this strategy is not working right now. And Martin and our CEO, they were already in conversations with some of our existing partners, some of our investors, and the relationships that they put us in front of have actually put something together. The relationships that they put us in front of ended up being the first customers that we ended up speaking to. So we could have went cold and one-to-one, 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 but we went warm to warm where Martin had people like Tony, who's been on the podcast, people like Richard Brown, people like
Fred
Dougie from
Lawrence.
Zinc, Fred Lawrence, and all of those relationships ended up becoming massive catalysts for bigger relationships. And as those relationships developed, you can kind of see how our roundtables come together, because all of those relationships are now a community of people that are in the mega ecosystem, and they're joining us for events and they're helping us speak with the customers that they have, they want to have. But the reason they're doing that is because we are an added value to everything they're doing. So if we're an integration, if we're working with an integration partner that has a payment software portal that already works with a collections company, we support both of those because our bots fit into that strategy, allow the call to happen, allow the link to be sent faster and at higher volume. And we need to be in those conversations with C-level executives, operational executives, directors, and we need to understand what are they doing through a conversation, not a sales pitch. People are tired of this sales pitch stuff. They're tired of being sold to. I've been sold to recently and just been screwed over. It's really not a nice experience. And in 2025, there should be an experience where a customer can come to the table and say, I'm interested in learning this. I want to learn about it by myself. If you guys are going to treat me, I would love to be part of that. And as just a byproduct of all of that together, I'm willing to take a few steps further, look and peek here, peek here, peek here. And
Yeah.
because we give all of that, like that recipe on the table through digital content, personal relationships, physical kind of opportunities, engagements, that becomes a very good, simple recipe to follow, but very effective when you look at it, putting it all together.
Oh, some red box up there, but that's fine. So I can see the sum it up is also like it, everybody says it's not easy to do enterprise sales. No, of course not. And you say it there, it's driven by relationship, it's driven
Yep,
by warm introduction. So you can say one part that I'm very proud of as I saw come into effect also is the know-how people have also because we are so active on social media. So it's all those small boxes like social media, very aggressive, show who you are,
yep,
take people behind the curtains also, what we are actually quite good at doing. Uh,
yep,
Posting relevant thing as a thought leader, which we are in this industry, we all come with background in it. Hosting these events where we meet people in person, where we talk about, and you're quite right. Normally, when you go to these, you be pitch slapped. Sorry, my
yep,
words, to talk out of yourself, and you are just
yep,
like, it's
yep,
not about creating any relationship or understanding where your client is, etc. And then over 300 podcast episodes together with some of our IC people, but again, to create that awareness, which create again the trust in the market that these people got something right. And because we have all these referral networks or people who backs up in the industry, we get that credibility, even though we are a new vendor on the
yep,
market. So I
absolutely.
completely agree. We found the secret recipe, and we had an ability to. When we started this thing, we tried cold outreach, we tried cold emails, we tried cold calling. We just found out it wasn't that effective. And yeah, we got meetings, but also the closing time for those meetings because there was no trust yet and nobody knew
Yep,
us. We were
yep,
just one like yeah, amongst all the others, you can say. So I
exactly.
think that's all right. So let the audience in a little bit. We have a product. We are live now. We went live in UK, then we went live in, then we wanted everything because it went so
Yep,
well. So we began all
yep,
over the place in US and other. And we also tried to cut some shortcuts and say, oh, we got it. Let's try just to do like this. It didn't work. It's not a long
yep,
time ago we actually tried a market where we tried to get a shortcut in and say, oh,
yep.
let's see if we can do it faster. We couldn't do that. We recognized that a
Sure.
couple of days ago and changed the strategy back to what we know works. But in
Exactly.
the audience, a little bit your advice, but also why are we only focusing right now on the UK market and few other European markets? And we want to be very skilled, especially in the UK, before we actually take the next big step to US, which is a country we are also active in, but not doing so much about in the second. Why are we prioritizing small markets before we ramp up to new markets when we now actually know some of the recipe? What is the reason for that? And what is your advice to other people who see the opportunity, want to grab it, want to have world dominance, and why should they not just hitting every market possible for them right away?
So you have to pay attention to the data. The data will speak for itself, and you have to be able to understand trends. And I've mentioned it before, you have to be able to understand a pattern. And the pattern will always show you where you have spikes in progress. You have, if you test some sort of initiative or some sort of strategy, if it's going up and then it plateaus, like you've got to be able to pick up on why is that well, that's pretty cool. You've got to pick up on why it's plateauing. If it's going up, you obviously continue doing the same thing. If it's going down, then you've got to really look at it and say, all right, what kind of things do you have to do to pick this downward curve up? And if you can't, how quick can you pull the plug without being emotionally attached to it? So our success has predominantly shown um, the best results and the biggest volume of success conversion on wins is in the UK market. Um, we are building strong relationships with the European market because some of these European markets or companies, they're familiar with the companies in the UK. But the second we go out to the US, which is a huge, huge opportunity that everybody wants to be a part of, you've got 52 states. Every state is different, and you've got to know where you've got to exploit, the market itself. And again, to have coverage over such a big mass of land, and pick up small pieces here and there. They're not ready. They were actually, we spoke about it last week. The American market seems to be a little bit, I wouldn't say further behind, but the conversations we're having are showing that they're a little bit further behind in adopting voice AI into a collections business. Our businesses in the UK, our customers right now, are quite aggressive. So we said, look, hey, we tried it for what, 4 or 5 months? The 4 or 5 months, it didn't bear any fruit. Actually, it bared a little bit of fruit, and it came to an opportunity where even the avenue we tried to go down,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
lost gas, it lost
Yeah.
steam,
Yeah.
and you have to know very quickly, look, I need to pull the plug on this before I sink more money, and focus that money in-house where the money is, where the success is, and double down on that. And that's where we're going to get our first
And I think
foundation of success.
it's a very interesting finding, because even though we've been in this game for so long, we have been scaling companies, selling companies over the last 10
Yeah,
years. We actually know the recipe. Even though in our little world here, where we should actually know these things, we have it. We also get, carried away, where we say,
yeah,
oh, wow, this is really working. We have huge success. And then we
hmm,
try to do this shortcut. And then as you said, the important thing is here to recognize very early as possible, hey, this is not flying. We took a bad
yeah,
decision. We need to also take the consequences out of that, and then move fast instead of just keep on going, because you actually started something and you want out of your proudness to that just to succeed. But there is no shortcut. There is to
yeah,
do the plan that work, redefine it, learn from your findings. And when you have that concept, yeah, it takes time. So we also know to go into the US is a many months startup plan for us, where we need to do the right things, all the things we did right in UK. We are now doing the same in
yeah,
Holland, in Germany, and in those countries where we are moving into now. And we put the effort
yeah,
in, and we can see that is also working for us now.
yeah,
So, last question. And I think this is actually something you teach me very often, because I'm all over the place. So some of the things you're often saying, Martin, you just said it actually before this podcast. Try just to move that plan a couple of days ahead of yourself and get some.
yeah,
Let's stay here and not try to get too much on the table. So why
yeah.
is doing fewer things really better than trying to do everything? So you have all those ideas, and especially when you work as me and Peter as founders, where we normally have
Hmm.
a tendency to be all over the place with our ideas and thoughts, etc. But again, why is it better to do fewer things in to do everything?
You need you need space in your mind, and I was taught this by an amazing coach of mine, Andrew Shaw. If he watches this, he'll know. But he said, Shane, I posted a picture of my schedule on LinkedIn, and it was a packed calendar, so packed, but it was so neat, it was so clean, right? Every meeting was structured one after the other, and he was just like, Shane, let me tell you something. Um, just because you're busy doesn't mean you're doing the right work. He
Um,
said you need white space. If you're the CEO of your own company, just remember you can't be busy. You need to work. Not in the business, on the business, and you need to have white space. I said, what the hell is white space? He goes, look at your calendar right now. Where is the white space? And there's none, because I thought having back to back to back to back to back 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 meeting was the way I'm successful and I could really move my business forward. But the second I moved some of those meetings out and I delegated certain things and I gave up trust, right? I know I can deliver on the result. I can create the outcome. Hands down, it's a given. However, if you hire a team, they may not do it 100%. They may not do it 90%, but 80% is your minimum that you need for the job to be done and effective. And you give that out. You start your business with one task, two tasks, three tasks. That list grows very quickly because you only cross off certain things, the most important things. And as that grows after 1 month, 12 months, 24 months, and where we are right now, having that huge list of things that are outstanding, need to be crossed off, done, important, prioritized, most important, urgent, all of that stuff. It's not possible to deliver on all of the items you have in your head, which is why you have them, you put them down on paper, and you say, okay, where do I want this in my week, in my day? And the only things you want to be worried about or focusing on are your number one thing is your cash. So is my activity relative and leading to cash today? If this new activity is an admin task, can it go 3-4 days, a week out? How far can I push it out without affecting my business? And
Yeah.
understanding, like, these are the things, the connecting points of a business that you got to get. But as a CEO, as an executor of a business, you need white space to think,
Yeah.
strategize, and say, okay, now I'm going to go and deliver and execute on this task or this goal.
It's actually, and for an end comment to that, I can relate so much to that myself because my calendar is normally packed from I go up in the morning to my day is finished. And one of the best days where I really get something really, really done, also on a personal level, but I think also for the business to move forward, was actually a day that you and me had this Friday where I was supposed to go down
Yep.
in the morning
Yep.
from Gatwick. And then there was an accident, or there was something that every flight.
Heathrow explosion.
Heathrow, yeah, Heathrow. And every flight didn't fly, they stayed on ground. So I had an extra day there, and my calendar wasn't fully packed. And that led us to actually have quality time where we spent that time. We went for breakfast. We had a day where there were no sharp agenda, where we could just think and talk. And for
Yes.
me, I don't prioritize those things that often because normally you actually think, oh, I actually get like a bad vibe. Fuck, I'm not using. I should be more efficient now and doing those things.
Yeah, I should
But
be on my
actually,
computer.
those spaces are actually where you get a lot done. So you should block just time for think. So with that said, Monday.
Wait, let's do this. Before that, let's do this. You're always focused on customer meetings, revenue, pushing every department forward. So on the day that you got a break, we'll cover it on the next episode, but give the audience a sneak peek into what were some of the conversations that we did develop on fast tracking our business, enhancing our customer experience with sales meetings. Sam, for example, just a little 2-3 minute snippet on that.
I think we are going on a very interesting path, but we are also an AI company. So one of the biggest conversations that we had was actually, and this sounds real wild for the most people, where you want to grow sales, the most people say hire more BDR, hire more account executive, do more on the sales side. Where we were having a conversation that we had for a long time, but it really came into like perspective on Friday. Let's say, how can we grow our business 10x from where it is now without hiring as much as one person more in our department? How can we make efficiency even more around our team? And some of the things, and I will not say a lot about it, but we will explore it next time. How can you do 100 margins? That's me. How can you do 100 margins instead of one without hiring anybody else? That's some thinking for the next time. How is that possible? But that is potential possible. We will look into our thoughts and our plan of how to actually ramp our company 10x from where we are now without hiring one more person in sales. And with that said, this was this episode for today. I'm sorry, Shane, I flipped it in your head, but it cannot be me who still the show all the time because you're a big part. So for everybody listening, thank you for listening to the podcast episode today. We wish you all an amazing week and see you next time.